Still waiting? Okay. Are we still waiting? We're still waiting, right? We're just tuned. We're ready to go? Okay.
Okay.
We're going to start. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Amanda. That was just lovely. My name is Lindsay Daniller. I am the Director of Community Initiatives and Strategic Development with Reach Edmonton, our Council for Safe Communities. And I'd like to welcome all of you here today to Edmonton's Sexual Exploitation Week of Awareness. When we look outside today, it doesn't feel very spring-like, but over the past few years, this has always been our moment of leaping into spring and bringing hope back to this particular topic in this particular community. And so even though most of us would rather actually not be here today, we are here to remind our community and ourselves how important this particular week is. And many of you I see this year, including our help here from CBC's stage, is we are all trying to wear orange. And I guess that's not too unusual this week in Edmonton. There's an awful lot of orange about. But in this particular instance, we are, most of us, trying to wear orange. I'm now going to call on Kathleen to do the next steps of our event here today. And we're also welcoming, I see our councillor who probably got caught up in some snow here. We will do some of those formalities. But before I actually call up Kathleen, there is just one thing I want to do, because wherever we are in Edmonton, Reach Edmonton and many of our partners want to recognize that we are meeting on the traditional land of the territory of Treaty 6. This is the traditional territory of the diverse Indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, including Cree and Dene, and Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Nakota Sioux, as well as Métis and Inuit. We are dedicated to working together with these diverse communities and settlers from around the world. The lady who you are about to hear from in a moment, as the Executive Director of CEASE Centre to End All Sexual Exploitation, is a remarkable woman herself. She once sat on the Reach board. And as I'm never surprised, a gentleman came up to her a while ago and said, "I want to thank you, Kathleen. And I want to thank you." And I thought, oh, well, Kathleen did something last week. No, this went back many, many years. And he said, "I've never had a chance to thank you for the opportunity you gave me with X." And I think that is very much the case of Kathleen in this community. So welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. Today we gather in this public space, and we have before us a vase of flowers. These flowers are a symbol of all those who are known to be victims of murder in our community. We know there are many, many more. We know that some also have taken their lives in despair, and we know that others have died due to illnesses and the consequences of addiction. But we pause every year to remember those who have been murdered. There's at least 38 women and men and transgender persons in the last 34 years. The persons responsible are only known in 11 of these deaths. And so that shows the work we have to do as a community to find all those who took the lives of these people. One thing that is a little bit hopeful is that due to the good work of community, both our Edmonton Police Service and our RCMP CARE, Our community has not suffered the loss through murder in the last few years, so I count that as a strength of our collaborative work. I'm now going to invite Elder Gloria Laird to lead us in prayer. Elder Gloria Laird and I first met in 1999 when our province declared what was then called the Protection of Children Involved in Prostitution, now known as the Protection of Sexually Exploited Children Act. And again, the community worked together with our provincial ministry to develop support services for children. We still see the great need to continue this work, and I'm going to invite Gloria Laird to open with a prayer. Then we will have a moment of silence for all those children and adults, not only in Edmonton, but around the world, whose lives have been stolen from them. And then we will conclude with an offering of music by Amanda Lamont. Elder Laird.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. And thank you, Amanda, for the beautiful flute music. And I welcome everybody that's here. It's good to see a nice little crowd, the same faces every year. It's a very difficult field to be in for many of the people that work in this field, and it can be very heartbreaking at times. And so I've been given this tobacco to pray. And it's my honor to pray. I do work with youth that are sexually exploited as well. I see them almost every day. And prayers are very powerful. And I've had some of them come back and tell me some really powerful experiences they've had with prayer and how some of them have moved on and changed their lives. And so I'd ask you today to join me in prayer. If you would stand. Please, and I would ask you to open up your hearts and to pray in your own way, however that you pray. I'll just add that I'm one of the elders for Métis Regional Council Zone 4, so this region, and it's been my honor to be appointed elder for a few years now. And in our prayers, I'd just like you to hold the energy for all those that have crossed over, the missing and murdered, and also for the families of the missing and murdered. I've been to a few gatherings and conferences, and there's a lot of pain out there for the families that don't know what happened to their loved ones. So I would ask you also to keep in mind these ones that are still here and are still a lot of pain, and that we're able to find out what happened to many of them. That just disappeared. That must be such a horror for the families. So just open up your hearts and pray with me. Creator, we thank you for this day, Father God. Blessed Jesus, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, all the angels and saints, I call on you here today, grandmothers and grandfathers, to bring blessings for this week, that we're all able to open up our hearts and to do what we can to support the families and the young ones are involved in sexual exploitation. And first of all, that we keep them safe, but that there are open arms available there to help them when they're ready to move on and to change their lives. I ask you, Archangel Michael, to put your wings around them and keep them safe when they're out on the streets. We ask your blessings for all of those and those that are also caught up in the addictions of every kind, and many people in our communities are being destroyed by all the addictions. We ask your prayers and blessings for all the family members of those missing and murdered and those that have been lost. And ask the angels and grandmothers and grandfathers to take them up to, in the spirit world, to take them straight up to heaven for all the suffering that they've done and their horrendous ways. Many of them have died. We ask your blessings for everybody in this room and all those that they love and care about as well. And ask your prayers for all of them, for all the people that work in this field, we ask. And ask blessings to keep them strong, open-minded, so that we're all able to receive the guidance that we need to help these the young ones especially, but also that we call in the healing energies to help us all. For this we give thanks. Hai hai kanaskum tinawau. I thank you all. And now we'll have our moment of silence.
Please be seated. Thank you so much. It's now my honor to introduce the people who are doing the really hard work for all of these events around the year. They are the members of the Sexual Exploitation Working Group. They are the 2017 members. SEWG is a collaborative of community partners and law enforcement, municipal and provincial government, and Reach Edmonton. The group is concerned for those who are vulnerable to sexual exploitation, including sex trafficking, due to age, financial desperation, migration, homelessness, prior childhood abuse or neglect, mental or physical health conditions, intergenerational trauma, addictions, or any other circumstance that contributes to vulnerability. Can I ask those who are in attendance to stand and be acknowledged? The group includes ACT Alberta, Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society, Catholic Social Services Pasika Community Follow-Up Program, CEASE Centre to End All Sexual Exploitation. We have on the group City of Edmonton, the Edmonton Region Children's Services, and of course the Edmonton Police Service. I think I saw more than one here. Reach Edmonton, there are a couple here from Reach, give a wave. The Family Centre is here as well. So to all of you, thank you so much for everything that you do. Without the dedication of collaborations like this, events like this can't happen and change cannot happen in the community. It is now my pleasure to introduce Councillor Logan, who is in his second term representing Ward 3. And I think I'm just going to not even read the notes here, because Councillor Logan certainly is near and dear to many in the community. He believes in community from the bottom of his heart. He's dedicated to the community. He sees the positive side of what it is and how it is important to build the community. And so it is really a great pleasure to introduce him and to say that he has been on the Reach board as the council representative for a couple of years, and we have been so grateful for all of the energy and the effort that he puts into the community. We think he is a remarkable councillor. So, Councillor Logan.
Thank you, Lindsay, for those way too kind words. And actually, I'm on my 6th year of Reach, I think, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to go off at the end of the year. But I certainly have enjoyed my time and have learned a lot from all of you. Thanks again, Lindsay, Elder Laird. Thank you for your words of wisdom. Kathleen, Staff Sergeant Johnson, who Dale and I actually go way back, about 20, 25 years now, probably. Great to see you. Amanda on the flute, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, and all those that are here today. On behalf of City Council, I'm honored here to help recognize Sexual Exploitation Week of Awareness. Well, it's unfortunate we're gathered today because sexual exploitation exists in our city. It's important we draw attention to this serious issue so we can learn, discuss, and work together to address it. Sexual exploitation can be difficult to talk about. It takes many forms, affects people from all walks of life, and has extremely damaging consequences for both individuals and our community. Most people don't realize that those being victimized are young, children and youth under the age of 18. Even more troubling is the fact that the average age of a child involved in prostitution in Alberta is 15 years old. There's no question that sexual exploitation makes people more vulnerable to issues such as mental illness, isolation, and addiction. We know one of the best ways for us to combat sexual exploitation is through awareness. The good news is people are starting to join the conversation to try and come up with strategies to help prevent this from happening. The events throughout this week open up crucial conversations about healthy masculinity, internet safety, and how to support individuals with their challenges in a constructive way. These conversations will instill hope and strength to those who fall victim to sexual exploitation. And they empower our citizens to make our communities better and safer places to live. Of course, beyond this week and every day, we must work to counter the stigma and stereotypes around sexual exploitation. I want to thank the Sexual Exploitation Working Group and REACH for all that you do to prevent this exploitation. I also want to thank everyone here today again for lending your support and for what you do every day. I'd now like to ask Kathleen Quinn to join me on the stage and accept the proclamation which I will read from the citizens of Edmonton. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to present it to Kathleen. Whereas sexual exploitation can happen to anyone regardless of social, cultural, or economic background, and whereas sexual exploitation affects individuals, their families, and our communities, and whereas raising awareness of the effects of sexual exploitation can help move its stigma and provide opportunities for victims to heal, and whereas community organizations, law enforcement, government agencies, and elected leaders in Edmonton are collaborating to address and prevent sexual exploitation, therefore I, on behalf of Mayor Don Iveson, do hereby proclaim April 24th to 30th, 2017, Sexual Exploitation Week of Awareness in Edmonton, Alberta's city capital, dated this day of 24th of April, 2017. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you. On behalf of all of us.
Oh, I can tell he's a lot taller than me. The activities during this week of awareness recognize there are very many vulnerable people on our streets, whether they are children or adults. People can be sexually exploited on the street, on chat lines, on internet buy and sell sites, and at house parties, or trick pads in apartment buildings. We also have to face the fact that sex trafficking can occur in regulated massage parlors, escort agencies, and exotic dancing venues. A key partner in this are the Edmonton Police Service. They are actively involved in combating sexual exploitation. They respond to those pleas for help from families reporting missing persons and neighbors very concerned about street prostitution activity. They investigate assaults and murders and work to arrest those who recruit vulnerable persons and who profit through human sex trafficking. They're a very important partner in so many community initiatives, and I know often we think that is the police's work. But we know how important they are on all of these initiatives and what a vital partner they are to us as agencies and to Reach Edmonton. So I would like to invite Staff Sergeant Dale Johnson to share remarks on behalf of the Edmonton Police Service. Dale.
Excuse me. Thank you, Lindsay, Elder Laird, Councillor Logan, Kate Quinn, dignitaries, partners, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Firstly, I would also like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional lands referred to as Treaty 6 territory. The Edmonton Police Service is dedicated to ensuring the spirit of this peace and friendship treaty is honored and respected. On behalf of the Edmonton Police Service, I would like to welcome everyone in attendance and offer our sincere thanks for the opportunity to again be involved in the annual Sexual Exploitation Week of Awareness Proclamation ceremony. I would like to openly recognize the important work carried out by the Sexual Exploitation Working Group and publicly thank all those organizations that have come together to form this partnership with the collective goal of informing, empowering, and challenging Edmontonians to end sexual exploitation. As a staff sergeant in charge of the Covert Operations Section, one of the teams I oversee is the Vice Unit. I am pleased to take this public opportunity to formally announce for the first time that the Edmonton Police Service has officially replaced the moniker Vice Unit with the Human Trafficking and Exploitation Unit. This new name is intended to modernize our image and clarify the serious nature of the crimes we investigate. As an investigative unit, we are focused on battling all forms of sexual exploitation on all fronts. One way we do that is directing efforts at reducing the demand for buying sexual services. Make no mistake, buying sex is against the law. It is illegal whether you pay for sex from a person standing on a street corner, through escort websites on the internet, or inside licensed massage studios. Our objective is not just to hold offenders accountable to the law, but to educate them that their actions are not without consequence. Paying for sex contributes to the victimization of women. A major tenet of the EPS vision statement is to make Edmonton the safest major city in Canada. This ideal is a cornerstone of our organization and is at the foundation of everything we do. To that end, the Edmonton Police Service has made a commitment to ensuring the protection of our most vulnerable citizens. Sexual exploitation contributes to the victimization of some of society's most marginalized individuals, and it is our responsibility to confront this type of behavior where they cannot. We are keenly aware that these crimes have a real impact on many innocent people. We will continue to work together with our partners to protect at-risk individuals from being exploited by those who would otherwise prey upon their circumstances. The Human Trafficking and Exploitation Unit will continue to focus on fostering effective relationships with all persons involved in the sexual services industry. We will direct our enforcement efforts solely at the traffickers and the consumers. To deliver on this mission, we require the assistance of many like-minded agencies and individuals. Dedicated and professional police officers will always require the assistance of the organizations you represent. We recognize that collaboration and relationship building is vital to our collective goal. This year's Week of Awareness includes 2 educational events, one addressing internet safety for children and youth, and the other discussing healthy masculinity and the positive impact that it can have on reducing sexual exploitation. I encourage everyone to attend these events if you can. Help raise the awareness around these topics, as they are both key to eliminating the victimization and sexual exploitation of our children and vulnerable adults. On behalf of the Edmonton Police Service, I thank you for your thoughtful attention.
Thank you so much. That partnership is so very vital, as we said. I did refer to many of us wearing orange today, and it does symbolize change, energy, and the warmth of compassion. Anti-human trafficking organizations around the world have chosen orange as their color. In Edmonton, we stand in solidarity with these initiatives by wearing the color orange. We encourage you to wear orange throughout this week. I'm not sure that'll be that difficult in Edmonton this week. And work towards shaping a future for a city free from sexual exploitation and sex trafficking. On that note, the high-level bridge will be lit up in orange on Thursday, April the 27th. And it will recognize this week of awareness. Our sergeant also mentioned a couple of events. So on Tuesday, April the 25th, a free public event featuring panelists from the Red Cross, the Sexual Assault Centre of Edmonton, a representative from the Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team's ICE unit, and Crown Prosecutor Craig Kriegler. The discussion will focus on technology and internet safety for youth and children. And on April 27th, Thursday, it's a free public discussion. We'll explore healthy relationships. Panelists will offer diverse perspectives as well as approaches to engage meaningfully with youth and men. So thank you for taking the time today, for taking a few moments to remember, and for us to all continue this very good work. Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone who attended. Thank you.
Photo? Oh, absolutely. Say cheese.
Okay, we can do that. Let's do that.